The presidential spokesperson Vincent Magwenya has confirmed that President Cyril Ramaphosa will travel to France for tomorrow's Rugby World Cup Final between the defending champions Springboks and New Zealand. The president will also get an opportunity to meet the squad. The final is expected to be a legendary one between the two rugby giants. And we cross now live to SABC sports reporter Simon Burke, who's on the streets of Paris. So let's find out if there's any more developments where Simon is at. Simon, a very good morning to you once more. And, very interesting conversation you had with Leanne earlier, talking about, the bench and also what our tactics will be going into tomorrow night's game. Many South Africans from last week, of course, concerned about wet weather conditions and ball handling, some of the errors, unforced errors that have crept into the game. But, what are you hearing there?
Well, the reason I found out that they play at 9 p.m. at night in France is because the evening news from 8 to 9, without any adverts on the public broadcaster here in France, is sacrosanct, and they don't want any interruptions. So the National Rugby Games, the French kickoff time has traditionally been 9 p.m. So the Springboks just need to get used to it, because it's been mandated by the French government for years and years and years. And I think we did come to expect that. That's how the Springboks always had to go about things when we did play against France in France. So we have to expect that. And Faf de Klerk said that the worst part about this week and the worst part about the World Cup, especially with the late kickoffs, it was easier when it was a 3 or 5 o'clock kickoff. But the 9 o'clock kickoffs means they have to change and tweak their sleep patterns. So they have to sleep during the day. They have to sleep later. They have to sleep in. They have to keep resting, because 9 o'clock in South Africa, we don't have much professional sport being played at that time. You might have the odd cup final that has gone to penalties or extra time at that time of night in South Africa. I'm speaking about where local teams are competing, but generally, by 9 o'clock at night, everything's done and dusted. Should it have been a World Cup final in South Africa, we would have been playing at 5 o'clock, and it would have been lovely and sunny and dry, and everything would have gone our way. But yes, this is what we are up against. It's European conditions. They probably will suit the New Zealanders more, but the Springboks, they are a team that prepares with all the finer points in mind. And as Faf de Klerk said, they've been spending time in the hotel, getting their patterns together, getting their circadian rhythms, so to speak, on par, so that 9 p.m. kickoff tomorrow evening, they're ready to go. The energy levels are up, everything is up, and they're ready to put in a shift and be vigilant against New Zealand. And I think that's where this team says they need to go. They need to contain the New Zealanders. They need to dictate terms, and they need to be on the front foot at all times.
And Simon, always a bit of a downer when the host nation is out. But, what's the mood like? Is the excitement still high for tomorrow night's final? And also, what are the bookies saying?
Well, yeah, look, France have given us their utmost respect after we knocked them out in the quarterfinals. You can say that. There hasn't been an angry Frenchman in sight. They come up and they offer their congratulations, they offer their support. I think they just appreciated that quarterfinal we played against France was of such a high quality that they've a team that was being groomed to be a golden generation in France. If they were going to lose, they were going to lose like that, and then the nation could accept that and move on with life. That's what the feeling is here. And from a French perspective, from a Parisian perspective, they do these events so well. Everything has a certain flair. You can still see elements of the Rugby World Cup around some of the landmarks, the Arc de Triomphe and the Champs-Élysées. You'll see some of the branding still up. And it's on a level that you don't often see elsewhere. I'd say it's not as brash as Times Square in New York. It's just got that sort of stylish element that commands your attention, but doesn't that doesn't take over the whole scene. So, and what we saw from the rugby villages as well, where the French and where supporters have been encouraged to come and congregate to watch matches as well, is that they're in such beautiful landmarks as well, like the Place de la Concorde, right at the bottom of the Champs-Élysées, backing onto the River Seine. So it's just beautiful settings and surroundings. So while the hosts are out, the World Cup is still very much alive here, and everyone's having a great time. And if the bookies are saying that South Africa might be the underdog, which they are slightly, I think South Africa needs to take that with both hands, because you never want to be a favorite going into a World Cup final. It's just an unwanted pressure. And against our old foe, the All Blacks, I always think there is an element where we are like the underdog, but it's because it's our great rival, and there's always that tiny bit of self-doubt that if there is one team in the world that can test us to the maximum, it is New Zealand. And I think New Zealand think likewise of South Africa. So in terms of the favourite tags, in terms of where the odds are lying, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. But if it was up to the South Africans, they'd want that underdog tag, so they didn't have so much pressure going into the final.
Well, thanks so much, Simon Burke, out on the streets of Paris. I must say, such modesty has totally missed me, because I think we are the odds-on favourite to retain that cup. But let's leave it there. Thanks so much, Simon. And Simon, of course, in Paris for us. And this, of course, as Morning Live remains on the road, this time with Isuzu to the Rugby World Cup. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got all you need to know before you head out. So do stay with us here on Morning Live.